I'll never forget the moment my father entered that room and announced my engagement. 15 years old, still fidgeting with textbook pages, still harboring dreams of teaching or writing someday. I still cuddled my stuffed animal each night. I was just a kid, yet in their eyes I was prepared. Not for ambitions, not for aspirations. I was prepared to become someone's fourth spouse. The man selected for me had lived 52 years, a revered religious leader in our community. My father declared it an privilege to be selected by him, a privilege. I remained silent. I didn't resist. In our home, compliance was paramount. I simply sat there, motionless. I managed a weak smile because that's what a devoted Muslim daughter does. But that evening I sobbed into my pillow until my ribs ached. That was when the girl I had been vanished. That was when I perished. Inside, everyone surrounding me claimed I was fortunate. I had become the spouse of a holy man. They assured me Allah would bless me, that I would mature into this position over time. The other wives offered me strained smiles, brittle and hollow. But nobody witnessed what occurred behind those locked doors. Nobody saw how my husband handled me, not with affection, not with respect, but with possession. I was his belonging, a child delivered to him like a present. He violated me without permission, addressed me like I was a maid, and declared that defying him was defying Allah's will. I worshipped continuously, 5 times daily. Beyond that, I wept on the prayer rug. I pleaded, Ya Allah, please rescue me. But I heard silence. Heaven's quiet grew louder than my screams, and gradually my prayers transformed into doubts. Why would a compassionate God permit this? Why did my body feel desecrated under religion's banner? Why did I feel punished for being born female? Following my 3rd pregnancy loss, I encountered her. Her name was Miriam. She worked as a nurse at the hospital where I was taken after another lengthy, savage evening. I recall lying on that hospital bed, fragile, shattered, gazing at the ceiling, wondering if death would be simpler than returning home. Then she appeared, Miriam. She sat silently beside me, softly took my hand, and spoke nothing for a moment. Her presence alone soothed me. Her eyes held kindness, so different from the eyes I had known my entire life. There was no condemnation in them, no religious arrogance, no expectations. She didn't question if I prayed. She didn't criticize me for wearing my hijab incorrectly. She simply sat and smiled. Before departing, she slipped me a tiny folded note. When I read it later, it simply stated, "You are seen, you are loved." I clutched that note like it was my salvation. It was the first time someone beyond my world looked at me and truly saw me. Not as a spouse, not as someone's property, but as a human being. That evening, something unusual occurred. I experienced a dream unlike any I'd ever had. I stood in a peaceful place. Light surrounded me everywhere, soft and radiant like sunshine, but gentler. Then I saw him. A man clothed in white. His eyes contained something I had never experienced before. Pure love. Not lust, not dominance, simply love. He looked directly at me and said, "You are not forgotten, Fatima." That was everything. I awakened crying. My chest felt heavy yet warm, like someone had placed a palm over my heart and breathed peace into it. For the first time in years, I felt secure. But almost immediately, the terror returned. Was this Satan attempting to deceive me? Was this a trial? Was I being tempted into apostasy? I didn't share the dream with anyone. I couldn't. But something within me had changed. I couldn't stop thinking about that man in white. I didn't know his identity, but I knew he had seen me. And something deep inside whispered, "Keep searching." That was the start of everything. I didn't realize it then, but that moment, that dream, was a fracture in the wall they had constructed around me. The wall of silence, terror, submission, and domination. And even though I remained trapped inside it, light had begun to seep in. After the dream, I couldn't release it. I didn't know who that man in white was, but his words resonated in my spirit. "You are not forgotten." I required answers. I needed hope, so I did the unthinkable. I downloaded a Bible application. I concealed a second phone in the bottom of my laundry basket. Every night, after everyone had fallen asleep, I'd retrieve it, dim the brightness completely, and read the New Testament in secrecy. My hands trembling, heart racing, terrified someone would discover me. I didn't comprehend everything I read, but one passage haunted me. "Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you." How could a book written by non-believers speak so directly to my anguish? It was a Thursday evening. One of my husband's other wives had grown suspicious. I'd been too quiet, too distant. That night I forgot to hide the phone quickly enough. She burst in, grabbed the phone from my hands and screamed. The following hours are a haze. My husband struck me with his belt. He said I was possessed, that I had brought idolatry into his house. He spat on me, cursed me, locked me in a dark storage room. For 3 days I sat in that room, bleeding, starving, shivering. No light, no windows, no food. I whispered only one thing, repeatedly. Jesus, if you're real, help me. On the third night, the door creaked open. Miriam stood there, flashlight in hand, trembling. I have a car waiting, she whispered. If you want to leave, we go now. You may never return. I didn't hesitate. I ran barefoot, battered, half-conscious. I abandoned everything behind. My clothes, my identification, my family, my name. All I had was a small bag Miriam packed for me and one verse she had written on paper. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. Psalm 91. We drove through the night to a women's shelter several towns away. They provided me a bed, warm food, clean clothes. But no one could silence the battle inside me. What if I was wrong? What if Jesus wasn't the truth? What if I burned in hell forever for abandoning Islam? For days I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw flames. And then the face of the man in white. One evening, I was invited to a secret Bible study for former Muslims. I didn't want to go. I was afraid. But something, maybe desperation, pushed me. We sat in a circle, just 10 people. Ex-hijabis, former imams, sons who had fled from honor killings, girls like me. And then someone read from the Bible. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. I couldn't contain it. I wept like a child, loud, broken, uncontrollably. In that moment, I felt something embrace me. Not physically, but deeper. It felt like being found. It felt like truth. And in a whisper only I could hear, I said, Jesus, I believe you are the truth. Save me. That was the night I was born again. Not into a new religion, not into a new set of rules, but into a new identity. One not based on what I wore, how I prayed, or who I married, but on who God said I was. The shame didn't disappear overnight. The fear still remained. But now I had someone walking with me through it. I knew it couldn't stay a secret forever. One evening I received a message from an unknown number. It was my cousin. We know where you are. You deserve to die. You have brought shame on your bloodline. My heart froze. My hands shook. The room began to spin. A few days later, my father left a voicemail. You are dead to us. You are no longer my daughter. I never want to hear your name again. And that was it. The man who taught me how to read, the one who held my hand when I was small, just erased me. The shelter advised me to relocate again. New phone, new identification, new city. It felt like dying all over again. And yet it was strangely liberating. I had nothing left to lose. For weeks I debated whether I should go public with my story. Would anyone even believe me? Would I be hunted down? But something inside me, something unshakable, whispered, if even one girl like you hears this, it's worth it. So I sat in front of a borrowed phone in a quiet corner of a hidden church basement and hit record. I told the world what they tried to bury. My testimony, my truth. A few nights later, I had another dream. The man in white returned. He didn't say much. He simply looked into my eyes and said, You are my daughter. And I wept. I wept like I did the first time I bled. Like I did when my womb lost its babies. Like I did when my father said I was dead to him. But these tears weren't grief. They were joy. For the first time in my life, I understood what it meant to be wanted, to be claimed, not for duty, not for shame, not for obedience, but for love. A few days later, I was baptized in a quiet river by 2 women from the shelter. There was no crowd, no applause, just water, wind, and peace. I came up from that water clean. It's been years now. I changed my legal name for protection, but I still use Fatima when I tell my story. Why? Because there are so many Fatimas still trapped in the silence I once lived in. Girls who've been told that their pain is holy, that submission equals salvation, that their only worth is obedience. To them, I say, you are not forgotten. You are not dirty. You are not beyond rescue. Today, I mentor other ex-Muslim women in secret shelters. Some are younger than I was. Some are mothers. All are survivors. And every time one of them whispers, "I think I had a dream about Jesus," I smile because I know the man in white is still walking into dark rooms calling his daughters home. They stole my childhood. They tried to silence my voice. They buried me under religious fear. But Jesus found me. He loved me back to life. My name is Fatima, and I am free.